Hi, and welcome to today's webinar, When Old Meets the New, a cloud-centric data center interconnection. Before we get started, here are some housekeeping items. If you have any questions during this session, feel free to submit your questions in the box on the right-hand side. After the end of the webinar, we will be sending you a recording of this session along with some useful resources which you can share with your team. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you today's speaker, Prasanna, Senior Global Product Manager here at Epsilon. In this session, he'll be covering some of the challenges businesses typically face when using a traditional data center interconnect model. He will also be covering what a cloud-centric data center interconnect ecosystem is and how the limitations of a traditional data center interconnect model can be overcome by software-defined networking. Without further ado, I'll hand over the time to Prasanna. Prasanna, please.
Thank you, Sherry. So if you are an enterprise or a business that you are remotely involved in any of the business transformations or IT transformation, which is more than 85 enterprises today have already embarked on a business transformation project, either transforming how their employees access their work resources, intranet portals and systems, security policies. There's a lot of facets to it, but any of the most of the employees today are impacted by such transformation projects. Even if you are a frequent traveler and you submit your claims, gone are those days where you have to write in paper forms and submit them, but now you can access them through an app and submit them directly into the company's intranet. So this also means that the systems at the back end have become agile enough. The IT processes, they're all distributed, and at the same time there should also be not more headache to the CIOs and the CTOs. So this ensures that the needs of the current enterprises and businesses are varied and robust, and the back-end IT infrastructure of such businesses should also be robust and not be dragged on by traditional business models. So this is typically why, as an organization, people are transforming and what they need to have at the back end to transform. And also the global economy, as we know, it's getting borderless. So companies expand quick enough, and new businesses pop up in a matter of weeks or months. And in the current startup age, where companies are purely born in the cloud, it could just they can start a business in a month or even less than a few weeks time. So businesses get completely remote in nature. So even without a staff or a physical office, a business can crop up off the cloud, and such is the nature of current global economy. And we're going to see how such businesses are being supported by the modern software defined based data center ecosystems. So in a traditional sense, if you were to look at DCI, which means data center interconnect, it is purely built around legacy networking. So you have your rack and you hosted your servers in a very popular data center, and you're able to interconnect with a multitude of businesses and ecosystems. You could connect to your suppliers, your partners, your own customers, all of them out of your a rack that runs most of your machines and your applications and your business processes. So this is a very traditional way of operating, right? So if you have a request to connect with one of your ecosystem partners, all you have to run a cabling and you patch them up across your rack to the customer's end. And this is pretty much done on a connection by connection basis. This is a very siloed model. And you don't have the overall view of what happens outside your ecosystem. Are you able to use the same connection to tap on that particular partner and extend to another point with whom is interconnected? Pretty much how the internet works today. Everybody's interconnected, but in the traditional legacy networking model, where you are hosted in a rack, but you still only see your immediate connections and you're not able to expand beyond that. So multiple connections, or turning up a connection within a quick period of time, these are all current limitations in the legacy networking model. And there are people still limited by weeks or even months of turn up lead time for them to be able to connect to a business partner. And this has direct implications to the business as such, and this could even impact loss of potential business to a competitor who have deployed faster models of engaging their customers. So this has pretty much changed, and what we're going to see is how such legacy networking models could be taken out. as you have seen in the previous slide, if you need to be in the hyper-connected market where cloud-centric networks are at the core of every business, then should not be in a closed environment anymore. You should have access to an open ecosystem where the network is programmable, same way your business is programmable and agile. You should also need your IT infrastructure to be also aligned with your business goals and business agilities. So this is really the needs of the future DCI that we're going to see. So, and what does the market expert and the industry expert to tell us? As you have seen, most of the 85% of the enterprises web traffic today use cloud services for their applications and their use. And Gartner does say that 80% of the enterprises would have completely shut down their traditional data centers by 2025. So either they are going to run them purely off the cloud, or they're going to employ SDN software defined network, so that the IT managers and the CIOs can focus on what is critical to the businesses, which is like security enforcement, security policies, uh, having built a proper network that can quickly scale enough for their business demands and not having to spend months and months on new projects and rollouts and stuff like that. So that is really the focus where the CIOs and the IT experts should be focusing on for an enterprise, and not get bogged down by legacy issues. And the market industries, as you can see, all of the experts are pointing towards a greater adoption for the need of a software-defined network at at an enterprise. So the global SDN market, this gives a huge opportunity for the SDN market as such, where players like us and others in the market are offering a huge benefit to the customers. And this particular market segment is projected to grow from $8.8 billion on upwards to $28 billion by 2023, and a staggering growth of 26% upwards. So these are all some of the numbers to give you where the market is heading in terms of the opportunities that lie. And these opportunities not necessarily benefit suppliers and service providers, but these are direct benefits to the enterprises for them to be able to transform faster from where they are today. Let us look at some of the common challenges in a traditional data center ecosystem: complexity, flexibility, geographical limitations, serving a wider set of needs, and finding the correct expert partners. So these are in a pretty much nutshell that our customers today that they work with Epsilon, these are the challenges that they have currently overcome using our software defined network. So most customers that we talk to, they talk about geographical limitations. As I said, the new companies in this current era, they have business needs that come up in a matter of few weeks. So suddenly a customer out of Singapore or out of any part of Asia, let's say in Indonesia, has a need to connect to Dubai, and this they can't sit and plan out 6 months in advance or 8 months in advance, so that they can align their IT processes and their procurements and all of these things. So they would need they should not have such geographical limitations on their IT sourcing and their IT infrastructure requirements and needs. They would want such demands to be met within a matter of a day or two, or even within a matter of weeks. So if imagine if such needs for a company, an enterprise based out of Jakarta, is they are able to connect to a business partner in Dubai, and they could do it all within a matter of one day, right? All the way from deciding to signing the contract, as well as turning up the connection. If it all happens in a day, imagine the impact this has to their particular business and their upstream organization. This is one of the common challenges that are currently um, given by the traditional model of interconnecting with partners. And then there's also complexity, the need for you to work with multiple parties, and then the lack of flexibility and scalability is one of the biggest problems our customers face today. So one, they do not have the ability to scale their IT needs as and when they need. They are forced to forecast that well in advance, and then most times the forecasting becomes difficult given the nature of the business that they operate in, and the lack of flexibility where they're tied down by long-term contracts by the suppliers and vendors. These are all inhibiting the current businesses from scaling to their to their maximum potential. So these are some of the major challenges that the customers running on traditional DCI ecosystems face today. And this is a quick example of an IT manager who is running his machines and applications out of a data center, and he currently works with multiple different service providers. One service provider to connect to a data center partner, let's say in Asia Pac, and onwards to a cloud. So he has two different contracts just to go to the cloud. And in some cases, this could be simplified because there is more and more data center providers are able to provide connections to the cloud, but this is still a different contract and a different view for the IT manager. Then comes another pure infrastructure need to connect to a foreign supplier, let's say, or a business partner in the other part of the world, in Americas or in Middle East. This requires another contract. And onwards for a last mile connectivity, which is even more problematic. Last mile connections are purely regulated by the respective regulations, and they have to have another contract for that and a different SLA for that particular connection. And if they have, let's say, they want to peer and have an internet peering with a CDN provider, one of the big logos, they want to peer with a party in Europe, they have another contract. So at this particular a simple example, this is one of the most simplified use case that we can find. In most practical applications, the situation is even more complex. Even with these three ecosystems, one cloud, one data center partner, and one peering, we have 3 to 4 different contracts and 3 to 4 different relationships to be managed by the IT enterprise, managed by the IT manager. This together shows what they are facing currently today, and compounded by the lack of flexibility and the lack of scalability is really the problem that they are in today. So what does it mean for businesses? All these common challenges for both service providers and enterprises, reducing complexity and allowing the transparency to come down to the hands of the IT manager or the CIO is really the fundamental need for businesses today. They no longer need to be bogged down by the lack of visibility on what is happening to their connections. Am I able to see if this has gone up or gone down? Is this causing a lot of issues? Are these issues on my current connections impacting my business? What is the immediate impact to my business and long-term impact to my business? These are all the visibility that enterprises and service providers need to have today. And this this should be one of the core approach to how they see the IT infrastructure today. And this is the core of the cloud-based DCI networks. So software-defined network, this has been around for quite some time, and it is becoming mature, and it is impacting a lot of service providers today. This allows a partner or a provider or an enterprise to build, manage, and grow the ecosystem as and when they want and the way they see it fit, and while also having the full complete control over their network as and when they deploy their application services. This is pretty much how software-defined network can transform the traditional landscape of DCI ecosystem. So in simple terms, we have spoken a lot about the challenges. So what is it uh, you would define a cloud-centric DCI ecosystem? In simple terms, it is nothing but a high-density network ecosystem where you have a high connected uh, members and partners. For example, data centers, clouds, businesses, business partners, supply chain partners, application partners. All of these, partners are all connected in one super connected network. At the same time, there is no geographical limitations to all these business partners. So if you were to connect to an application partner or your supply chain vendor, let's say in the other part of the world, if you are in Asia Pac and you want to connect to somebody in Latin America or somebody, you should be able to spin up a connection to them without any limitation. So this broadly puts together a definition for cloud-centric DCI ecosystem. If you are able to achieve all of these interconnections without a geographical limitation, and that is the provider you should be working with. How would we look at the earlier example, the use case that we took? How do we see it in the world of cloud-centric DCI ecosystem? The same IT enterprise manager who is now looks more happy, is working on his own, not bogged down by the complexities. What has essentially is done is all of this connection points, which is cloud, data center on another part of the world, peering partner, all of those have become part of a huge connected fabric, which is embedded into the provider's network. And this is typically run using a software-defined network. So that really solves most of the problem in one go, which means all you see is only one connection here. So this one connection coming out of the data center managed by this IT enterprise can bring them access to the cloud in any part of the world. It can bring them access to an internet peering relationship in any part of the world, be it Europe, be it in Latin America, or wherever they want. And they can also establish them connection to a physical office or a branch office in another part of the world. So this is essentially what a data center enabled by a cloud-centric network can bring to your business as such. And look at, I mean, if you want to look at it, if you are an enterprise that, let's say, works in hosting or hosting related matters where you need access to eyeballs in specific local geographies, establishing a peering relationship is really the way to go, because that's where you get a free peering relationship with your like-minded CDN partners. And for you to find the CDN partners, the most of them are concentrated in Europe, and if you are in another part of the world, it's really a headache to manage such long connections, long haul connections from Asia to Europe, or means, let's say, Latin America to Europe. And all of this, puts into context the benefit of a connected fabric. And this simplifies the job and lets IT manager of that particular enterprise focus on what they do best, which is securing the IT infrastructure for the organization while leaving the traditional complexities and headaches to the people who do it best, which is nothing but the SDN providers. So how do you build a cloud-centric DCI ecosystem? You put a plan together, you find the right partner who can execute that plan for you, who can build it, can manage it, and expand. So the plan and the partnership is, let's say, is driven out of the enterprise office itself. But however, once you have found the right partner, you should be able to build, manage, and expand at your own free will, and so that you don't have any limitations. You should not be clamped down by contracts. You shouldn't be trying to reach out to your account manager, calling them, can you give me a solution for so on and so forth. All of these complexities are taken away. It entirely becomes a self-service platform, pretty much how you would procure your services, let's say, of an e-commerce platform today. Most of us use e-commerce platforms, and we are pretty happy with the self-service functionality. At the same time, be able to talk to experts in case of needs and troubles, right? So this is how we think that a business should be building a cloud-centric DCI ecosystem, where the last three parts are purely self-managed by the IT enterprise. And such business model delivers useful outcomes for the enterprise. So that gives us flexibility and capability to reach new geographies, flexibility to add new connections, increase the capacity of an existing connection, and visibility. Most important, you have an end-to-end transparency on your network. You know what is happening wrong, and you're able to download the statistics even down to the point of a minute where things went wrong, so you can have a conversation with your upstream provider, which is your SDN partner. At the same time, you're also able to relate that particular impact directly, how it transforms your business, at the same time impacts your business if there are issues. And that one particular relationship with an SDN partner also gives you access to clouds, data centers, like-minded partners. So you're able to find new business opportunities. You could find a new application vendor or anybody who can host your applications and you can partner with. All of them are possible through this particular software defined platform. And the best part of out of all of this comes with a greater cost efficiency for the business in turn. So you're not going to be ramping up your cost by going into a newer technology. This newer technology, which is nothing but the software defined enabled network, are going to simplify your problems, at the same time deliver great cost benefits to you in the long run. So this will definitely free up your current resources to focus on the core business of the enterprises. So having looked at some of the benefits of a cloud-centric DCI ecosystem, now we are going to look at one of the case studies from our existing customers, VisionNet. VisionNet is the first IT managed service company in Indonesia, and they connect to a lot of enterprises and businesses for regional connections as well as international connections, IT infrastructure needs, and all of those things. So when VisionNet came in touch with Epsilon, they were faced with traditional challenges, typically from interconnecting multiple different data centers and clouds. So they had some of their customers were having needs to connect to multiple public cloud providers, and they were inherently limited by the geographical issues that we mentioned earlier on. So being in Jakarta, only one or two cloud providers are present there with connectivity options, but it didn't allow VisionNet to easily connect with major public cloud service providers in Singapore and in other parts of the world. So when VisionNet wanted to have a cloud-centric DCI connection, all they had to do is physically connect with us in Jakarta. So we are present in three networks. We are present in three different POPs in Jakarta, in Metro as such. So VisionNet connected with us in one of the major data centers, and GTN, and from there they started spinning up on-demand connections to two different major cloud providers in Singapore, and this helped them to close major businesses within Indonesia itself. And the end users were really happy about how quickly they were able to bring up the connection, how they were able to have complete visibility on statistics and performance of the cloud traffic, and this helped them and get a higher satisfaction among their existing customers. And also it currently helps them to bring in more customers, and most recently they have also upgraded their connection all without any help and need from Epsilon. And this they were able to do it through the self-service platform, the SDN, and the cloud centric platform that we have. So the cloud-centric platform, the SDN platform, which VisionNet currently uses, is called Infini. So Infini is Epsilon's SDN platform that is built to meet the needs of a cloud-centric network for businesses and enterprises. And this platform is currently offered, in various means. So if you are physically connected with Epsilon, you can have access to this platform. At the same time, you also, if you don't want to go through a website, let's say a portal to manage your connections, you can also have API into Epsilon's Infini network platform, and from there you can also access the services through APIs because the platform is fully programmable. Now let us take a quick look at what Infini presents to customers today. So Infini as a platform is an on-demand portal. So the portal allows the customers to manage their connections to various different endpoints and ecosystems. So currently the ecosystem is quite rich. We have plenty of data center providers, a wide variety of them present on our network today. So these are locations where Epsilon has a physical point of presence. So we cover a good number of DC providers in various geographies, ranging from Asia Pac, Africa, Middle East, Europe, Americas, and most recently we are also going live in Latin America. So this covers the entire globe with a good coverage spread among major DC providers in the world. At the same time, we are also connected to there are 600 plus network providers part of our network, and these are all available for a new customer to connect and interwork with, right? At at the box there, you can also see famous internet peering exchanges in Europe, US, Asia. These are all connected to our platform today, and we also have the major public cloud service providers. So, what does this rich ecosystem mean for a customer? In the case of VisionNet connected with Epsilon in Jakarta in one of our existing POPs. So from there, the physical port of VisionNet allows them access to any data center and any connection to any part of the world. So if they want to connect to a business in Middle East, or they want to connect to a business in Latin America, they're able to do that out of that one single port that they purchased from us in Jakarta. So that one particular port can be seen as a multi-service port. So multi-service port means you use the same port to connect to use it for multiple different connections. So you can use that, and you can create one connection to go to, let's say, a data center in Middle East, let's say Dubai. You can use the same port, and you can create a second connection to a peering exchange where you want to peer with any particular business provider. You can also use the same port to create a third connection to connect to any public service cloud provider, to whichever cloud region they are present. So this is really, putting it in a nutshell, what Infini can bring as a benefit to the customer. And this Infini is nothing but our SDN platform, as I said earlier, and this runs on the in the model of a cloud-centric network that we have been talking all this while. And this platform, as I said, is accessible via both web-based portal, mobile apps, as well as APIs. We have also been working with a few of our peering partners, as well as with some customers who have their own inbuilt IT processes and OSS BSS systems. So those partners, they do not want to use another platform or another portal for them to log in and consume these services. So we are able to present the entire ecosystem through an API. So all the partner, what they work with us is they use our APIs, they hook up to their existing business models and processes and IT network, and as and when that particular IT network of the customer, if it needs a connection, the network automatically creates a connection using their existing connections with Epsilon. So this is the beauty of a cloud-centric or an SDN-based network. So imagine the customer is able to create a machine-to-machine programming, and the network of the customer talks to the network of Epsilon, and they're able to create all of the connections in without any manual intervention required. So this is how the future is going to be, and some of our customers are realizing the benefit of it. And at the same time, all of this connections and the rich ecosystems comes with real-time analytics on the network performances. And with this, I hope you have had a good understanding of what a cloud-centric DCI ecosystem is, and also the benefits of an SDN network, how that can transform current business models for various enterprises, how you can also overcome the challenges from a traditional DCI networking legacy model, where you are limited by geographical challenges, challenges about scalability and flexibility, all of these. I hope you are able to get walk away with some of these pointers. If you want more help, or you need to speak to an expert that can help you, in transforming, or that can also, if you are interested just to have a casual chat about what you are, what Epsilon is doing, please feel free to get in touch with us. Thank you for your time. With this, I hand over to Sherry.
Thank you, Prasanna. And that concludes our webinar for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to submit your questions in the answer box, and we will get back to you within 24 hours. Once again, thank you for joining us in today's webinar, and we look forward to seeing you in our next section.